what even is Resident Evil supposed to be anymore? Because this just feels like a conglomerate of a bunch of the previous games instead of it trying to be its own thing. I thought this would just be Resident Evil 2 again, and it's kind of like that, but not really, because there's not two separate campaigns. Instead, you just switch back and forth unwillingly to either Leon or Grace. And it actually did kind of annoy me in the beginning. When I started playing, I thought I would hate playing as Grace, but I actually ended up liking her parts almost more than Leon's. And when I had to go back to playing as Leon, I was actually kind of annoyed to some degree, because while his parts are fun, Grace's felt like it required a little more brain power instead of just blowing people's heads off with literally any weapon he has, because he's just supposed to be the cool action type character in this game. And it does not really blend well with the game that's supposed to be, I guess, survival horror, and it's not even really scary, because Resident Evil isn't scary anymore. I feel like the last game they made wasn't even really scary, it was kind of just an action game. 7 was the last, I guess, survival type horror Resident Evil game, and I never played it and I never will, because it just looks boring. The beginning of the game starts off a little too slow in my opinion, and I feel like they could have cut some stuff out, like the having to follow Grace's mom around until she shows her put something behind a painting. I feel like you could have cut that, maybe done something else to make it more interesting, because it just wasn't that interesting, honestly. It was annoying. I just wanted to get to the gameplay. And seeing her walk down a busy street did nothing for me. This shouldn't have even been here. You could have just been at the hotel to begin with, but now you gotta have build up for some reason instead of just letting the player play the game. That would make too much sense. And for some reason, she's sent by herself to go investigate this. What sense does this make? Like, I'm not going to talk about the story just yet. I just had to bring it up because it's so stupid. It's unreal how dumb the story is. Your first enemy encounter is with a police officer that got turned into a zombie, and it didn't exactly, I guess, get my heart racing. I guess the best way to put it. Horror games they're not scary at all anymore. What they consider to be scary is jump scares. That's not scary. If anything, it just annoys me, because the entire time I'm on edge, wondering when the next jump scare is coming. That's not true horror. If you want to make a good horror game, make a good atmosphere. At any moment, you're wondering if something's going to happen. And this entire game, it felt like nothing. It felt nothing like that, like at all. Then you switch over to Leon, and it just becomes an action game. And it really makes me wonder if this was originally just meant to be a Grace game, because Leon's part does not fit this at all. If they made this entire game just playing as Grace, honestly, I didn't think I would be saying this, but I think it would have made the game better. Because while Leon's parts are fun, they should have done either one or the other. And I feel like they were more so leaning towards Grace, because I feel like she's the true main character of this plot majority of the time you're playing as Grace. And Leon just feels like he's just here. Like, why is he even here? He's like 50 years old and he's still out here fighting bio-mutant weapon creature things. Like, they just keep milking Leon. Like, he's had enough games. Just retire Leon. It should have just been a Grace game, because I really did enjoy her segments of the game. And Leon's are great and all, but it just feels unnecessary. And I understand they're trying to do throwbacks to Resident Evil 2, but if they're gonna do that, they should have just done 2 separate campaigns. And I wouldn't have had any complaints. But being thrown into either playing as Leon or playing as Grace completely ruins the flow of the game, and it actually kind of ruins some of the enjoyability as well. And the difficulty is much easier on Leon's segments. And while I enjoyed the action Resident Evil games like 4 and 5, we don't talk about 6 because it's that garbage. I played like an hour of that game and I almost broke something. It's that bad. Extremely cheap. They didn't even try with that game. They just said, we're gonna pretend this is a mainline game. No one's gonna notice because everybody's idiots. I would be correct, because there's people that think RE6 is a good game. You have no brain cells if you believe that.
At launch, most critics regarded it as a colossal failure, with major outlets giving it scores as low as 3 out of 10. 3 out of 5 would have been considered low for a game in this series. One of the common complaints was that the game was a pathetic attempt to cash in on the success of military shooters, with Capcom abandoning horror in pursuit of Call of Duty-like sales goals. Along with that, the controls and mechanics were derided as clumsy and broken, the monotonous action sequences were tiresome, the camera was frustrating, the quick-time events were— fuck it, everything. Everything about the game was terrible. Sales momentum dropped sharply after launch, and Capcom rebooted the series with a much more focused and horror-based vision that has served them well ever since. It would be easy to write the game off as an embarrassing miscalculation, but then it would be hard to explain how the game has kept selling over the years, taking the number 3 spot in the rankings. That's not the number 3 spot in the Resident Evil series, that's number 3 in Capcom's entire history, and it's just a sliver away from being number 2. Granted, a lot of those sales came after the game landed in the bargain bin, but it still counts for something that Resident Evil 6 just refuses to die. The game's fans will claim that it continues selling because it was an extremely fun action game with groundbreaking third-person controls and combat mechanics that were misunderstood by the majority of critics. Their argument is usually that Resident Evil 6 should be approached like a Platinum title, a stylish, over-the-top action game like Vanquish or Bayonetta, and that the haters rejected it simply because they were too closed-minded to accept anything that wasn't survival horror.
I love the supposed Resident Evil fans trying to rewrite history, saying Resident Evil 6 is good. No, everybody just didn't understand it. No, people just didn't like it because it was an action game, when Resident Evil 4 is one of the most popular games in the series. But no, people hate it because it's an action game, right? Shut up, you idiots. But back on topic, they should have just split this game into 2 parts. After the failure of Resident Evil 6, Capcom decided to do something different with 7, and I feel like that's when Resident Evil really just stopped caring about being Resident Evil. They already had done that with 4 and 5, but it actually kind of worked with those games. And while it's always been like some very cheesy, I guess, story to these games and not exactly very serious, even though I'd argue the original 3 games are the most serious, and really everything after that they really stopped caring with 4, everything after 3. But now it's just like I feel like they really have no idea what to do, which is why they made this game play like this. Like, I honestly believe Resident Evil 4 Remake's combat and gameplay just feels better than this. Like, the characters move like snails in this game. They move so slow, I almost installed a mod to improve the speed. It's that garbage. People complained about the movement in 4 Remake. It's not that bad. Especially after playing this, it's so much better. You feel like Sonic playing 4 Remake compared to this game where he plays a literal turtle. But we're gonna ignore that now. We're gonna ignore that. This game just feels very sluggish. You can parry with Leon, but it doesn't even matter because it just doesn't feel natural at all. In 4 Remake, it feels so much more natural. Like, I was constantly using it in that game. In this game, I hardly used it because I forgot about it most of the time until like towards the end of the game when I finally realized, oh, I can parry. You know, I don't really think this game needed a parry, but it's fine. I'm not saying it's bad. There's so much wrong with this game that I doubt people will actually point out, because every game that releases now is apparently a masterpiece because people have no standards, lower their taste for literally everything. Or maybe it's just that they don't have taste and have never actually played any real good games, because this game, in my opinion, is just above average, slightly above average. It's a fine game, and I will stand by what I say. Grace's parts were the best part of the game, in my opinion. I love Leon. He's my favorite character in the Resident Evil series, or I guess franchise, whichever you prefer. But he just doesn't belong in this game. They tried so hard to bring all of these different parts from Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 7, Resident Evil 8, and mix it all together, and it doesn't mix very well. It's like water and oil. Everybody knows why they did all of the, I guess, member berry things, like, you know, Mr. X being in the game. Why is he there? You go back to the Raccoon City Police Department. Once again, play as 2 different characters. Once again, another Resident Evil 2. Throw in the member berries to get you remembering about all of the old games instead of trying to do something new and interesting. But no, these people can't do that. They just have to reuse things from previous games to get you to buy the new game, which is why they put Leon in this game, because I doubt this game would have sold very well if Leon weren't in this game. That's the reason most people bought this game, is for Leon. Let's be real. I think the hospital segment of the game was the most creative part of the entire game, and then the rest, in my opinion, kind of went downhill. Not that I disliked the rest of the game, but the basement segment was really just there to waste your time. They could have cut the basement and did anything else. Or the part where there's mortars literally firing at you and people shooting guns at you when playing as Leon, when you have to go up to the roof to grab the final part of the module. And that whole segment where you're running around for these parts was so obviously padding, and you could argue is the worst part of that game. But then again, the orphanage exists, which, why is that even in here? That's clearly supposed to be a Resident Evil 2 remake, I guess, flashback, whatever you want to call it. Nobody liked that. It sucks. It sucks in this game as well. I don't even know why they would put that in here. It doesn't even fit, and it makes no sense. In the very beginning of the game, when you finally escape the bed that you're attached to, and the huge monster is chasing you around, easily my least favorite part of the entire game. I cannot stand it. It's obviously just there to draw out the part where you have to find the other power core, and it was just irritating. I did not like that at all. That's the only time that creature actually follows you around outside of like the basement. That's, I guess, a little different. It actually works with that, but yeah, this shouldn't have been here either. I did not like this. Very irritating. You can play in either first or third person, and I chose to play in third person because it's Resident Evil. I'm not playing in first person. I didn't like playing in first person in 8, and even with the added third person mode in that game, it didn't even look right. You could tell it was obviously last minute, and I think they charged you for that, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. Yeah, Resident Evil 8 should just be forgotten. I think it's extremely overrated. But Lady D, right? Lady D, extremely overrated butterface. As for weapons, all of the pistols suck. They're all garbage. The only weapons in this game that I actually really enjoyed using was one of the rifles. I can't remember the exact name of it. And the Requiem and the Ghost Grudge, easily the best weapons in the game. I think the Requiem is slightly better, especially after completely upgrading it and adding the charms. The Ghost Grudge is just as good, but I think the Requiem is better because it has a little more spread, so it's better for groups, while the Ghost Grudge packs just as much as the same amount of a punch, but is better for, I guess, longer ranges, even if it's not really a long range weapon, maybe more like short to mid range. But the Requiem is easily the best gun in the game if you're not counting the RPG. And yeah, the pistols just feel extremely weak, even after they're upgraded. They're just not that great. The handguns just feel useless, especially after you get the SMG and you get a shotgun, and the shotgun feels weak too. Like, these might be some of the weakest weapons in the entire series. A lot of the weapons just feel extremely weak and useless. Most of the time you're going to be using either the Requiem, shotgun, or rifle if you're playing as Leon, and most of the time you're shooting a pistol with Grace and saving up your Requiem shots for stronger enemies like the Butcher that you can find in the kitchen, or Blister Heads. Those things suck. Especially, I actually think they're harder to fight with Leon, which is kind of funny. Grace, you can just one-shot them instantly, but when fighting them as Leon, it's like they just move around way too much. It's like they know playing as Leon is a little too easy because he can parry literally anything. He can parry a missile. So they're like, okay, we need to make this a little more difficult for Leon. But Grace, it's like, it's so much easier to fight than playing as Grace. Since I'm on the topic of enemies, the enemy variety is pretty terrible. Like, you have the regular zombies, the blister heads, the lickers, I guess the big fat enemies, and then the big fat enemies but that aren't as fat with the orange bubbles on them. And yeah, the enemy variety just isn't very good. Like, you're fighting most of the same enemies most of the time, and then I guess the zombies with guns, and that's pretty much it. Like, there's not much enemy variety, and it gets kind of boring after a while. And so are the boss fights. All of the boss fights are lame, like literally all of them. Like, the final boss fight is literally just Salazar again. Where's the cool fights? Like, Mr. X was fine, I guess. I guess it was pretty easy fighting him. I just shot him with a shotgun a bunch of times and grenaded him. The only boss fight that I actually kind of hated, and this is partially my own fault because I wasn't playing right, is that I think you're supposed to kind of hold the button when fighting Hunk. I ended up dying to him a few times because I was just somehow being hit through my parries, or maybe I just wasn't parrying at the right time. Once again, the parry sucked. I actually ended up dying to Hunk, who's supposed to be one of the easiest bosses in the game. I ended up dying multiple times fighting him. So yeah, I hate that fight. It sucks. And it's just, how is Hunk dying this easily? I thought he was supposed to be like this super cool, overpowered, superhuman guy. No, he's just a regular guy, I guess. Actually, I think he is a regular guy. But somehow he just can't die. But Leon is just that goated. Chris could never beat this guy. He's just not good enough. He can punch all the boulders in the world, but he's not stopping Hunk. He's just not. And the Victor fight, which I almost forgot about, isn't even a fight. Like, you literally just drive a bike, but you aren't even driving. Most of the time, you don't even have to touch the controller unless you're shooting, and even then, I feel like you're not really in control. You have to shoot these monstrous dog, wolf, whatever they are. They don't look like they belong in this game. Once you finally reach the end of the bridge that you're driving on, you shoot a few times, and then that's it. And that's the fight. That's not how he dies, even though he literally blows up. But this is Resident Evil. It doesn't need to make sense. Who cares? The atmosphere in this game is all over the place. I never really felt afraid or anything like that playing as Grace, because once again, these aren't horror games anymore. One important part of making a survival horror game, which this is not, is the soundtrack, and I barely even noticed the music. The only time I noticed it is when I switched the soundtrack to the original Resident Evil music. That is like the only time I actually kind of noticed it. The regular music I didn't notice at all, because I guess they just don't want you to hear it. Yeah, that really took away from the experience. Like, the music being one of the most important parts of a survival horror game, because it gives you this eeriness, like at any moment you could be attacked by anything, or something could grab you. But not in this game, not at all. There is no scariness in this game. And something else that you see in every supposed horror game is, did you know everything being black and not being able to see what's on the screen is scary? Did you know that? Making everything extremely dark and not being able to see anything at all. That's scary. That's how you make a horror game. Just make everything dark so the player can't see anything, and you can go to turn your brightness up, but no, the brightness is already at max. I'm so tired of every game doing this. I just want to be able to see what I'm looking at. You can make a game as dark as you want. That doesn't make it scary. If anything, it just ruins the gameplay because I can't see anything, so therefore I get jumped at or attacked or something else. Like, I'm tired of it. It's annoying. And once again, I feel like they do this to make you play longer because you can't see anything. I feel like they tried to make Grace like the female Ethan Winters, except Ethan wasn't nearly as annoying. I thought he was just pretty bland. Grace is just annoying and kind of a coward. Like, every time she talks, it's like nothing but fear in her voice. And you would think she has a stutter the way she speaks. Like, she sounds like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo every time she talks. They tried to make her like this quirky character in a Resident Evil game. Like, it's unreal. Like, why would they even do this? Sounding unsure about literally everything. And the only time she sounds sure of herself, or sounds anything but, I guess, scared, is when Leon decides he's gonna shoot the little girl who turned into a literal monster. That's the only time she's not scared, is when she literally sees a girl turn into a monster and she tries to defend her. How dumb is this? This game's story is so stupid. And this is literally what I mean when I say the story does not matter in Resident Evil. Like, I don't think it's ever mattered. I'm including all of the games. All of them. This has to be one of the most confusing, boring, mediocre plots I've ever seen in a game ever. Like, I legit had no idea what was even going on. Like, I was so lost. I didn't even care to begin with, but I really stopped caring after like halfway through. I was like, I do not care about the plot at all in this game. What is this game even about? I don't know. And then once it got to the end of the game, I was just like, what is happening? You start running around this little girl for some reason. You learn Grace is adopted or not even a human. I don't know. I legit have no idea. At this point, like, they could literally make the story literally anything. They could go outer space and I would not even care so long as the gameplay is fun. I just find it funny how the older games with tank controls were more creative and interesting than these newer releases that come out now, because they think splattering blood all over the place and making everything dark and having an extremely convoluted story, which I don't think convoluted is the correct word, but that's just what I'm going to use because I don't know what else to even call it. They think that this is better, and I highly doubt we're ever going to get another game with fixed camera angles and tank controls because normies hate uniqueness. They hate anything that actually is different. They just want another over-the-shoulder third-person shooter. Fake deep story, which I don't, again, what is this plot? It makes no sense. We're never gonna get another unique RE game ever again. We're just not. They made Wesker, and yes, I know his name isn't actually Wesker, look extremely zesty. Like, he legit looks like a Yakuza member, especially with the virus or whatever running through him. And they had no problem with the female gaze. They had no problem making Leon not look ugly. I'm not even trying to say Grace is ugly, but they could have made her look better. Like Jill from RE5, they could have done something like that, but no. We can't make attractive women in games anymore, but you can make attractive men. You can do that now. And all these females pretending they like this game have never even played it. There's plenty of people pretending, LARPing as Resident Evil fans that have never even touched this game, saying this is the best game in the series, when any actual fan knows that's just a straight lie. You've never played a game in the series. I recently beat RE2. I highly doubt any of these people have even touched the original 3 games. I actually have. So all these fake fans can shut up. This is not the best game in the series. It's just average. Like all games, people are gonna forget about it, but sadly, because gaming sucks now, this is probably gonna be one of the best games to come out this year. And you can craft ammo, and typically this would annoy me, but it really didn't bother me that much in this game. I think it would have bothered me if you had to search for a crafting bench, like in certain games such as Prey. Yeah, that game absolutely sucked. But what did actually bother me was the fact that you can craft an item that can one-shot pretty much any enemy, unless it's the huge fat zombies that require you to use 2 injectors to kill them instantly. And these items are just broken. Like, the game isn't even really hard. Like, it's pretty easy. Maybe on Insanity it's like much more difficult, but on normal it's not very hard to kill enemies, and the game is pretty generous with ammo, so I feel like this is, yeah, it's the most broken item in the game. And blood is literally everywhere. You never have to worry about collecting blood because you can find it pretty much anywhere in the game. There's literally buckets that you can find with blood, and enemies sometimes allow you to collect their blood, so you don't really have much to worry about. You can just walk up to enemies, especially as Leon, and just execute them. The enemies not have ears. Like, these are supposed to be, I guess, more intelligent zombies, but you wouldn't think so because I guess they're just all deaf. Leon's quips in this game, like, they're trying way too hard. It's almost cringe. Like, they're trying too hard with the cheesy lines. It actually doesn't work in this game.
I think I want a second opinion. Well, that went well. Haven't changed much, have you? Yeah. Let's get this over with. Time to bury Umbrella's last skeleton.
Seems you're reaching your limit.
Good riddance. Nemesis. You're so damn relentless.
It's like they removed all the real edge from him and they gave him like this Reddit cringe edge, and it's not the same. It's not the same as RE4 at all. They tried to reestablish his character, and I hate what they did to him. Like, he's still kind of cool, but he's not as cool as what he used to be. It's not the same. I feel like they took this series in a direction where they can just do whatever they want with it, and no one's even gonna care because, again, it's Resident Evil. They can do anything to this franchise at this point, and people will praise it because people have extremely low standards. They can just reuse aspects of other games, throw them all into this blender, and just call this a brand new game. And it's like, why aren't you actually saying this is bad? Like, you've already seen Mr. X. We've seen the RPD in multiple games. You've already seen the back and forth between characters. They literally stole the Sherry segment from RE2 Remake and put it in this game, and it's actually somehow worse. And people just don't care. They like trash, and we're gonna keep getting trash because you have no taste. You're a subhuman. They could have at least kept the laser in the game. It would have made aiming a lot easier. I actually hate that it's not in here. Where's the mercenaries mode at? That would be cool. Are they gonna charge for mercenaries? Wouldn't surprise me. I already know people are gonna say there's not enough characters. Yes, there is. They can just use characters from other games. Similar to how they stole characters from other games. You know, like Mr. X, Xena, which is literally just, it's literally Wesker. It is Wesker. Come on, let's be real. It is Wesker. They could put Ada in here. Chris. Why are we acting like we can't just take characters from other games and use it for mercenaries? As if it even matters. Who cares if they're in this game or not? Just put them in the mercenaries mode. And then Sherry literally just looks like Ashley from Resident Evil 4 Remake. Like, that is the same person with shorter hair. Talk about lazy. Like, they couldn't even make an actual character. They just stole Ashley's face model from Resident Evil 4 Remake and made her hair shorter. But this is a masterpiece though. This isn't lazy at all. Normies are literally killing gaming. Resident Evil 10 is gonna come out. It's gonna be the exact same thing. Constant praise, greatest game ever made. And then years later, people are gonna pretend that nobody actually liked the game. It was actually bad because, you know, we gotta rewrite history as always. And easily one of probably my least favorite things about this entire game is not being able to stagger enemies. I've shot enemies multiple times in the head, and it's like they're just walking through bullets. And I noticed they did this a little bit in 4 Remake as well, but it's not nearly as bad. I think it's really just on higher difficulties do you really notice enemies not stumbling back or looking like they're being hit by bullets. But apparently this is what makes the game difficult. Just making enemies literal bullet sponges or making them just be able to tank damage. That's hard, right? No, it's not. This game will be forgotten, I'm telling you. No one's gonna care in a year, guaranteed.